It has been roughly 3 weeks since I started the block attractant test review, and I've used a lot of Grainiac blocks, the Grainiac XLs. When they're on sale, I get them, and I've had really good luck with them. In this test, I put all these blocks in pretty much a rectangle, and I'm sure that was the deer were like, holy cow, what's going on? But I did that for a reason, because I wanted to see if it would be powerful enough to bring any deer in and what it would look like over time. All right, so our contestants are, we have a Grainiac XL from Antler King. We have a Purina Premium Deer Block. We have the Field and Stream Whitetail 365 Deer Block. Buck Bourbon 101 proof block, or 110 proof. And then we have Big and J, which, since there is a hefty amount of Big and J left right there, I'm not thinking that's going to be a factor, but we shall see. And we have the wild berry flavored deer block from Record Rack. And lastly, we have a Big Tine fortified deer block. Pretty interested to see how that's worked. Now, I have used hundreds of Grainiac XLs, and I know they do work very well. I think that it's going to be between the Grainiac XL and the Record Rack deer block. Now, as you can see, there's some that are bigger. Some of the deer blocks are bigger. You know, this Purina one is only 20 pounds. Field and Stream one's 20 pounds. The Grainiac XL is the biggest, and the rest are 20 pounds. The Record Rack is 25 pounds or 30 pounds. So we have 33 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds, 25 pounds, and 20 pounds. So the Big Tine, the Field and Stream, and the Purina are all 20 pounds. So we have to take that into consideration here. So we're going to kind of see how long it takes, what the traction is on each one, and which one holds up the best. I'm not expecting rain in the next 7 days, but if it happens, we'll kind of see how that holds up through that. So all the blocks are unwrapped now. They're in the same exact order. And one thing to note is the Field and Stream block. It looks like it's kind of falling apart a little bit. I was super careful when I brought them from the store. Super careful when I put them in my truck. Super careful bringing them here. And, you know, I did not touch them with bare hands. I was very careful. But they're in a configuration where deer have access to go after the ones they want. So we'll see how this works out. I'm pretty excited for it, but yeah, we're going to attract a lot of stuff hopefully, and see what my decent bucks do if they do come in. It will be interesting. Thanks for watching. So the clear winner is the Grainiac XL, but there's a lot to unpack with this video. I thought the Big Tine Attractant, if you didn't watch our attractant reviews, I have 3 videos on that, so you can kind of see what happened with all that. As well as the Big Tine did in the attractant review. I thought their block would be pretty good, but it wasn't good at all, which was pretty sad. And, you know, I thought some of the others that had a lot of corn in them, like the Field and Stream block and the Purina feed block, they both had a lot of corn. They did barely okay. But the interesting thing about that is the only time the deer started to eat on them was once they melted. When the rain happened, they kind of fell apart and just melted into a pile. And then the deer were picking the corn out. But that was... the deer pretty much stood and waited in line to eat on the Grainiac block. It was super interesting because there's like a Big and J block in there, and it's crazy. Not one deer touched that thing. The buck bourbon block might have got a little bit of action. The Big and J block was just did not get hit at all, and the record rack wild berry block, I mean, man, that thing, the only thing that was touching that in the big time block was a groundhog. The groundhog was, I was like, oh, okay, some deer finally hit it, but then when I look at the camera, is a groundhog eating on it, which was pretty crazy. The crows, there were crows and they were annihilating the Purina block pretty hard, and the Field and Stream block pretty hard. They're still out there though, what's left of them. I mean, the Big and J block and the Record Rack block almost look brand new. They're a little bit swollen because they got rained on. But I would say if you don't have access to a Graniac block, you know, the Purina or the Field and Stream block would be the one I would use next. The problem is they're so expensive and they're like 20 pounds. They were the smallest blocks that I purchased, and they were the same price but for 20 pounds. So I don't know. I wouldn't buy any of them. I guess the next test that I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to put a Graniac block next to some corn and just see what happens there. I don't know. I've used the Graniac blocks quite a bit, and I really like them, and the deer really like them. I've had no problems with them, and they do hold up, and they last quite a long time. They last a long time, and that's one of the big benefits of them. They last a long time. They're pretty durable. They're amazing with the rain. They do not fall apart in the rain. It was an interesting test. It was a super interesting test. And it was weird. The deer would just stand in line to wait to eat on the Graniac block. I mean, there was some bucks that were there for like 45 minutes at a time, and they weren't touching anything else. They were just standing there waiting or eating. So it's very interesting when you put your camera on video mode. You can see a lot more stuff in video, and I apologize for this because the first week I didn't turn the camera on video mode, so we have stills, and I'm sure you've seen a whole bunch flashing across of deer that are around it. But so we're just gonna kind of have to see, but I wouldn't buy any of that other stuff again ever. Just the Graniac blocks are the only ones that I would buy. So that's your winner. It's a clear winner. I mean, Big and J was the most depressing thing ever in all of these tests. So leave your comments, and I guess we'll kind of go from there. If you have anything that you think can beat that, I guess we'll check it out and give it a try. Thanks for watching.